Welcome to the second meeting of the Eco Rangers Club. I'm glad you joined us. I hope you came to the last meeting. If you didn't, go on to Facebook, look in the archives and on our YouTube channel, and you can find it, okay? So, last meeting I challenged you. I asked you what was our state bird. How many of you came up with cardinal? And actually, the correct term is northern cardinal, okay? How many of you came up with that? And how many did you count? Let me know. Post this on Facebook. Let me know how many you found last week. I'm sure you probably found quite a few because they don't normally migrate, okay? All right, so this week we're going to talk about how to ID a tree. And mainly we're going to concentrate on leaves, okay? And it sounds kind of simple, but there's a lot with leaves that you really have to know. But we'll get into that, all right? So, first thing about trees in Western North Carolina, we have the largest, wow, that was loud. We have the largest diversity here of trees. 491 native species. There's approximately 655 species of trees in this area, okay? Why? We talked about this last week. We have temperate and tropical areas all within the mountains. I know, that sounds kind of weird, doesn't it? But that means you have all sorts of different types of trees that can live here, just like the animal species we talked about last week. We have 3 geographical regions in North Carolina. You've got the mountains, you've got the Piedmont, and then you've got the beaches or the coastal area. So think of all the different kind of trees that are going to grow in that. We've got about that many just in this little small area right here. So that's pretty cool, isn't it? 90% are hardwoods. What's a hardwood? An oak tree is a hardwood. A hickory tree is a hardwood. Anything that has hardwood, right? Right, you got it. We're mostly oak hickory forests. We also have some oak pine forests. I know you guys know what pine trees are. And believe it or not, pine trees have different species, and those can be identified by the needles, but we'll go into that on a chapter sometime down the road. We also have maple, beech, and birch forests. So that's a lot of forests, right, in this small area? So what we're going to learn how to do is ID by leaves. And the first thing you need to do when we have a list of them at the end of the PowerPoint is to find a book or an app that will show you the different shapes and types of leaves. Because once we start getting into this, you're going to find out how to use a book to ID a tree by leaves. So let's get started, okay? So, clues found in the leaves. All right, these are various leaf shapes. There's a lot of them, aren't there? Each one of these has a specific name, and it's about a specific type of tree. So here, this one's called linear, and you can see why. That looks like a long strip. Whoops. All right, hang on. Let's go back to the beginning. Okay. Sorry about that. Touchscreen. Okay. This has a long straight line on it, doesn't it? Which linear line, right? This one is called lanceolate. Lanceolate because it comes to a sharp point, like a lance or a spear. Oblong, look at the shape of that. It looks kind of like a long stretched out oval. Elliptical, it's a little bit wider than the oblong. Ovate is even more oval shape. And cordate, okay? Cordate comes from, cordate means heart, heart in Latin, heart-shaped. So if you look at this leaf, do you see how it looks kind of like a heart? Okay, now we're going to get into some really weird ones. This is called obolanceolate, all right? This one is kind of opposite of the lanceolate. It's got a rounded top, and it's more narrow at the bottom. Obovate kind of starts out small, but then really opens up, okay? Obicordate is kind of like this one. It's heart-shaped, but you've got the heart shape at the top of the leaf rather than at the bottom. Spatulate, spatula. Guys know what a spatula is, right? Your mom makes pancakes with those. Spatulate is shaped kind of like a spatula. Cuneate comes out very broad. Sorry, guys. Okay, hang on. Cuneate comes out very broad and then comes in kind of like a heart. This is falcate. It's curved, okay? Then we have more triangular shapes down here. Auriculate, the leaf kind of curls down and comes back up to a point. Hastate, that looks like a Christmas tree, doesn't it? Kind of like a perfectly shaped Christmas tree. Deltoid. What's a deltoid? A deltoid is a muscle, right? Doesn't that kind of look like a muscle? Okay, think of that. Reniform is almost round, but not quite. And then the last one we have is peltate. Now, I'm not going to ask you guys to remember all these shapes, but kind of take a look at it because you can see how many different leaf shapes there are, but that's what helps us ID the trees. All right, I'm going to do this and try to do this carefully. There we go. Okay, now we need to talk about the position of the leaf on the stem. And you know what the stem is. It's right there. So we have three types that we're going to concentrate on. Alternate, meaning there's a leaf here, there's a leaf here, there's a leaf here, there's a leaf here. They don't come across exactly. They kind of alternate up the stem. Opposite, they're totally opposite on the stem. And you'll see that. Black walnut tree leaves are like that. And then another type that we have is called whorled. Why do you think that's called whorled? Look at how those leaves form around that stem in a circle. A whorl. Circles whorl, right? So that's that type of shape. Okay? And if you can see this leaf right here, that's a holly. So if you have a holly bush in your yard, look at how the leaves are coming off of the stems, and you'll see, or off the twigs, sorry, and you'll see that they're alternating. Okay? So now we have leaf margins. I mean, God, all of this about leaves, seriously. Okay, leaf margins are another thing you can look at to identify a tree, all right? And you can see from here all the way out to there, they're really different. This one is called entire. It's going to be smooth all the way up and down, not really much to it. And that looks like, to me, a lanceolated shaped leaf. This one right here is called undulate. Undulate means, you know, when you're out in the ocean and the waves are kind of going like this and making that shape, see what the side of this leaf is doing? It's undulating. Okay? Serrate. You know when you guys need to tear some saran wrap off for your mom or tin foil and you have that little metal edge with all the jiggy-jaggy teeth on it? That's what serrated leaf is going to look like, that jiggy-jaggy edge. Okay? Doubly serrate, it's double that. So it's really going to be jagged all the way around. Okay? Dentate could be mistaken for this undulating leaf. However, dentate means kind of dental. These would look maybe kind of like little baby teeth. They barely have notches in them. Okay? Crenate, a little bit more than dentate. The notches happen a little bit more and a little bit deeper. Now we're getting even better. Lobe. Think of your earlobe, how it kind of hangs down. See how it comes in and in? It'll have little rounded shapes where the notches are. And then this one, parted, definitely. You can see right there how indented these are. And palmate. I wonder why they call that palmate. Look at it. Okay? Think of your palm and then look at the leaf. All right? A lot of oak leaves are going to be palmate. Okay? So far we have leaf shapes, how they grow on the twigs, and leaf margins. All right? So the next thing we're going to look at more are leaf bases and tips. So that's a lot of stuff to remember, I know, but this will be up on our website and it's in any really good tree guide book. You guys will be able to do this. I know you can. It sounds hard, but it's really easy. So the leaf bases, the base would be the bottom of the leaf, and you can see how they're all differently shaped. Acute comes in almost to a point. Equilateral
is kind of rounded, that it doesn't come in as sharp as the acute does. Attenuate comes in very sharp, and you don't even see, sorry guys, and you don't even see the little stem there, okay? Auriculate, that has that little lobed area right around it. And this is our cordate leaf, the heart shape, and from the bottom, you can see the heart. Then we're going to move over here to cuneate. That kind of looks like this one, right? Sort of. This comes in more to the stem. This one kind of gradually goes into it. Oblique is interesting. One side of the leaf is going to go all the way into that stem there. The other side's going to cut off. So those are really easy to spot. Rounded, round. It means round. So its bottom is rounded to the stem. Sagittate, it's one of these little funky ones that's going to come up like that. If your mom has an elephant ear plant at home or something like that, that's how those leaves are. And truncate is square. And honestly, I haven't seen that many truncate leaves around here. Now we're going to go onto the tips. So the base is the bottom of the leaf where the stem is. The tips are the top. Once again, we have acute. Think of in math, if you've learned it yet, acute angles. They're very sharp, like a triangle. So there you go. Apiculate comes in and has a little tip on the top. Not so much as the acute, but a little bit different. Aristate has a big long tip on the end of it. And aristulate is a little more angular than the acute. See how that's kind of more rounded, and that's a little more angular, okay? This one, cirrhose, I love this one. It's nice and curly. It looks like if you have a little baby brother and he has just one little thing of hair on his head. It's going to kind of curl like that. Cuspidate, once again, we're kind of referring to dental issues. That one's more rounded with a tip. Emarginate, it's kind of like the cordate leaf, but it's not quite as deep, so it opens up a little bit. Mucronate, this is an interesting one. The tip is going to kind of curve to one side. It's not going to be up straight. See how it's kind of coming in and curving around? Okay. Obcordate, that's our heart-shaped leaf. Cordate over here, guys, remember that was heart-shaped at the bottom. This one is heart-shaped at the top. Okay, and you can see that heart shape. Obtuse, that's a round leaf. Okay. Retuse is a round leaf with a little dent in it. Now, this is where it gets confusing. I have no idea why obtuse is round and rounded isn't round, but you can see it's kind of off kilter there a little bit. It doesn't come up this way. So it gives it a little more, I'm thinking more of like you're going up a hill and then you're going to come down real fast, okay? Subacute is another triangle, but it's really wide, all right? And truncate, think of an elephant's foot. When I think of truncate, I think of elephant's trunk, elephant feet. They're flat and they're square on the bottom, flat, okay? So there's your leaf bases and tips. Why do I need to know all this? Trust me, it makes it a lot easier to ID a tree when you get into these areas. When you check out a book on tree ID, and in the film I'm going to show you at the end of this, I'll show you a book, and in the front of a tree ID book, there's going to be a table. That table's going to ask you questions, and it's going to ask you questions one by one. What's the shape of the base? You'll find it. What's the shape of the tip? Ooh, it has this base. It has a truncate base and a truncate tip. Then the table's going to tell you what page to turn to find a tree that may have that kind of leaf. So this does make sense. When you watch the film and we're done, I promise you'll get it. All right. Okay. All of these identifying features are going to help you narrow down the type of tree that you're observing. You got to do that, because just looking out at leaves, and I'm looking out our window right here at Morris Hill, I see a bunch of trees. I could not tell you what they are unless I go up and actually take a look at the leaf, okay? Unless you're really good at it, and I know there's a lot of people out there who
Bark's a helpful clue, especially in the wintertime, because what happens in the wintertime? Do the trees have leaves anymore? No. So we have to look at something else. Bark and twigs. You can look at twigs in the wintertime too. It's pretty difficult, but once those twigs start to bud out, there's ways to ID those buds. And we'll talk about that in the spring. Right now we're not able to look at that, but right now we're working on leaves, okay? So, this is a list of some of the books that we have at Madison County Public Libraries that will help you to ID trees. I've put the titles on there for you, who they're by, and where they're located. All of these will be in our nonfiction sections. And if you can't find them or need help finding them, or everybody's come in and checked them out because you're all excited about going out to ID trees, we can get you one from another library within the Cardinal system. Okay, guys? So if you need to refer back to this, please do. This will be up on YouTube and Facebook. All right, I think that's it. That's it for that. However, I have something else for you. So let's go ahead. Oop. Play with the smartboard. Okay. All right. Do we remember this from last week? What is this? This is the iNaturalist site. This is where you guys went all last week and logged all your finds, right? I know you did. I know you did. I hope you guys found some interesting stuff. This is a great site. Well, we found something on here that might help you ID trees and animals and plants and all sorts of stuff too. And that is called, hang on guys. It's an app in iNaturalist and it's called Seek. I'm going to show you how to find it in there. After you log into your account, and I'm already logged in, I'm going to go up here to More. Maybe. There we go. And I'm going to click down here. I'm going to click down here on this teacher's guide. Come on. Okay. I know you're not teachers, but I think everybody can be a teacher. All right. So what am I looking for? This Seek by iNaturalist app. Okay. This is a really cool app. I'm going to click on that link right there. This app you can download onto your phone. It is run by the California Academy of Sciences and National Geographic, so it's a legit app. It's okay to put on your phone. It's not going to do anything wonky or anything. You put this on your app, you come up to a tree or something, and I've looked in my guide, I've tricked my brain, I have no idea what this tree is. Your phone's going to take a picture of it when you pull this app up. If you take a picture of it with this app, the app should identify what kind of tree it is. Now that does make it a lot easier than looking through a guide. So use your guide first because it does help. And especially, let's say your phone runs out of power or out of charge and you're out in the middle of nowhere and you've got a tree and you want to know what it is. If you have a book there, you can always use the book, okay? But I definitely recommend this. This would be a great app for you guys to use. Identify wildlife, plants, and fungi. What's fungi again? Mushrooms, lichen, stuff like that, okay? And what's really cool about this is you can earn badges with this app too. So it's just a lot more fun, all within the iNaturalist site. Let's go back up here to iNaturalist. Okay. But you guys remember this, right? I hope you did log in. If you have any questions about this site or what you're doing with it or anything, actually, if you have any questions about today's lecture or last week's, I want you to personally email me, and my email address is c9s, like the number 9 with an S, at madisoncounty.nc.gov. Okay? Email me with any questions. I'll be happy to get back to you, or you can call me at the Mars Hill Library. Just whatever questions you have. How do you make your nature journal? Ooh, I found this weird looking worm. What do you think it is? Whatever. If you have anything you'd like to show me, please come in. I'd love to take a look at it. All right, guys? So now we have a film. I'm going to take you out. We're going to go up to the Marshall Library, and we're going to go to the gardens up there. If you haven't been up there, you really need to. They're really beautiful. There's tons of plants up there, trees, and because it's kept up so well, it has a lot of native species. You're going to find a lot of native animals up there as well, okay? So we're going to go up there. I'm going to ID a couple of trees. We're going to go through a tree guide so I can show you guys how to do this. And then I expect y'all to go out there and visit.
Right, so if some of you are familiar with this branch, we're at the Marshall branch right now. And I told you I'd help you ID some trees, or at least show you how to go through IDing trees, okay? So this first tree we're standing under is a native tree. I'm going to tell you how we get started, though. I have right here, if you want to see, it's the Audubon Field Guide to North American Trees, okay? So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to pull off a leaf, okay? So we see the leaf. So, from our last discussion, that's kind of heart-shaped, isn't it, right? And it's got very simple, no jaggedy edges. So, I'm going to go into my book right here, and it's got a key. And the key shows untoothed, simple leaves. And I'm going to look through these. Untoothed, yep, doesn't have the jagged edges. Look at that one. That kind of looks like that a little bit, doesn't it? Okay, that tells us to turn to page 94. So we're going to do that now. So let's go to page 94. And I'm going to look at all these and I'm going to go, does it look like that one? Not really. No, Eastern Redbud. No, it's not wide enough. Oh, but wait a minute. Oh, wait, sorry. It is an Eastern Redbud. Sorry, guys. Royal Paulownia, no, blah, blah, blah. Oh, wait a minute. Let's look here. All right, that leaf is heart-shaped. I think I'm going to look that one up. So, from this photo, we're going to go to page 518 in the back of the book. Here's our Eastern Redbud, okay? The description of this tree, it's got a short trunk, rounded crown of spreading branches, which it does, and it has pink flowers in the spring, but it's not going to have it right now. Gets to be about, 40 feet. This one's a little short, but that's okay. Now, the leaves are heart-shaped with a broad, short point with no teeth around the edges, okay? So I'm pretty good with that. And if we take a look, remember I told you about alternate and opposite leaves, how they grow on the branch? Well, right here, these aren't opposite, are they? If they were opposite, there'd be a leaf growing here. So these are alternate, all right? So those are a couple of good clues that are telling me that this tree is more than likely an Eastern Redbud, okay? So you saw how we did that. We went to the key in the front, kind of identified the leaf, and then just followed it through, all right? We're going to do this with a couple more trees just so you kind of get an idea. All right, guys, we're at tree number 2. This tree right here, and we'll get a close-up shot of the trunk in just a minute. This tree is very common to this area, okay? I am going to look at it and think, I kind of know what it is. I hope I know what it is. But we're going to pull a leaf and take a look. So once again, we go to the key in our book, and golly gee, guess what, guys? This one is also an untoothed simple leaf. Okay, there's not much to it. So I'm going to look over here and go, does it look like any of these shapes? No, 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 no. Look at that one. That might be it. Let's check out the dogwood. So I'm going to go to page 76 in my guide. Fortunately, I have these marked. So let's look at page 76. Okay, I don't know if it's an alternate leaf dogwood. That actually does look kind of good. Let's look down here. No, not that one. No. I don't believe it's a rough leaf because I'm looking at the bottom base here and that doesn't really look right. I'm thinking this might be a flowering dogwood. So, let's go to page 615. In the back of the book. And that's going to give us the description. So let's see maybe if we're close, okay? So, it says, where is it? The flowering dogwood, it's called Cornus floridus. That's the Latin name for it. It's a flowering tree, can get to be about 30 feet high. That looks pretty good there. The branches, they spread out on the top, just like the last tree did. The leaves are slightly wavy. You can see just a little bit of a wave in there, but not too much, okay? And it's got curved veins coming off this main stalk. So you see these veins coming out like that? All curved coming off this main stem, okay? It's green, of course, and it doesn't have any hair on it, so that's a good clue. One of the also things about this is, the leaves on the branches, now let's pull one down and get a good look. They're opposite of each other. So let's look and see how these are growing. Let me see if I can find a good one here for Miss Caroline who's filming me right now. Okay, see how these leaves are growing on this stem? They're opposite each other down here, right guys? They're right across from each other, okay? So that tells me they're opposite, which is this tree. That sounds good. We also have, fortunately on this one, some fruit. And I'll pick it off so you can see it. Oop. Thank you, tree. Okay, see that right there, guys? It says here that the fruit is long, berry-light elliptical, which means it's kind of oval-shaped. And it gets shiny red. And there'll be several at the end of a twig. Well, this one had more. They've come off, okay? So, I am going to say we're looking at a flowering dogwood, all right? And that's how you do it, guys. You just start at the beginning and you eliminate things or you pick up clues. And that's how these guides are going to help you. So why don't we walk in here a little bit and we'll take a shot. Watch your step. Do it?
Yep, I got it.
And we're going to take a shot right here if Miss Caroline could shoot right up at the tree. And there you go, guys. You're looking at the trunk of the dogwood. And you'll find these all over the woods. And in the springtime, they get those really pretty white flowers on them. So yeah, I know you guys know what a flowering dogwood is. Alrighty, so now we're ready to go on to tree number 3. Guess what we found? Well, we're going to guess what we found, right? Okay, this is a really funky looking leaf, isn't it? But this is a very, very popular tree around here. I know you guys have seen these before, okay? So, let's go to our handy dandy key. I've flipped through the thumb tabs, and let me just show you that real quick. These thumb tabs have all different kinds. So, does it look like that? Not really. Does it? Oh, does it have red flowers on it right now? No. Well, let's go here. Lobed simple leaves. See the shape of that, guys? It kind of comes in and then goes out, comes in and goes out, kind of like that. So let's go down. Doesn't look like a poplar, does it? No. Not a sassafras. Definitely not a maple or sycamore because it's not jaggedy. Keep going. Not a sweet gum. It doesn't look like a star. But wait a minute. Look at that one. I think that is that tree. Let's go to page 267. La la la. Looking for trees. All right. Page 267. We've got all kinds of trees on here. Here's a sweet gum. I love sweet gums because they have star-shaped leaves, but it's definitely not a sweet gum. No, doesn't look like a post oak. wait a minute. That looks just like that, doesn't it? That is a yellow poplar, guys, and we need to go to page 436. So let's go find page 436, and we'll see if we're right. Okay, so yellow poplar, that's also known as a tulip tree, guys. The reason it's called a tulip tree is the leaves are kind of shaped like a tulip, and it gets these really cool yellow flowers that look like tulips in it, probably about late spring, early summer, okay? It's a hardwood. It's got a long, straight trunk, and unfortunately, this is the tree we're looking at right here. You can't see the trunk on it because it's small, but I just couldn't go climbing up in the woods today, so we're going to have to take my word for it. It's got a nice, long, straight trunk, okay? Leaves are long and wide, blades of unusual shape. Yes, it does have a very unusual shape, doesn't it? Now, sometimes 4, sometimes 6 lobes. This one has 4, okay? Remember what I said about the bases yesterday? Remember that square one I said that could look like an elephant's foot? See how square that is at the bottom? That's a truncate base. That's what this has. And it also has an emarginate tip. It's very square at the top, all right? If it had flowers on it, we definitely know that it was a tulip tree. And you can't see it right here, but the branches, well, you can kind of, if you could zoom in maybe on just that branch right there, you can see that the leaves are alternate. They're not opposite each other. Alternate, remember guys, it's more like, here, look this way. It's more like there's a leaf here, and then there's a leaf here. They aren't opposite sides, okay? So, I'm pretty sure that this is a tulip tree, okay? But the main point of this, guys, was to show you how to use the keys in these great books. And I know you're saying, well, I have an app, then I can go out and snap a picture of it and it'll tell me in 2 seconds. Those are good to use. They really are. However, if you're way out in the woods and you can't get a signal on your phone, or your phone runs out of power, you're not going to know what it is. I always take one of these guides with me if I know what I'm going to go out and look for. And remember, the previous slideshow, I showed you that we do have some of these books at the library at Madison County. And if we don't have the ones that you want there, we can get them from the Cardinal system anywhere in North Carolina. Okay? So you guys go out, start IDing trees. You are going to become so good at this. I know you are. If you have any questions, email me, call me at the Mars Hill Library, or after this Facebook presentation, just type your questions down in the comments, and I promise I'll get back to you.
Now, your challenge for next week is, what is the state tree? Okay? When you figure out what that is, I want you to log in your nature journal and on iNaturalist how many of our state tree did you find last week. Okay? Alrighty guys, and next week's topic is going to be all about flying mammals in western North Carolina. We're talking about flying squirrels and bats. So we'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.